Hi, meet Preksha. So she recently started her Airbnb in Goa and got no bookings for 2 months. Then a Russian tourist came and he offered to pay her by using Dogecoin and tried to scam her. Then finally, when she got a booking, she was expecting a 5-star review. She even offered a box of cookies, but the client ghosted her. So that is the reality of making money in India in 2023. The point is that it is really difficult to make money in India and you need to be really careful. So on this video, I am going to explain you 10 simple points why it's tough and what solutions can you build around it. Also, this video has been brought to you by Ditto. It is an excellent insurance buying platform. The medical inflation in India is rising at a 14% rate. So the sooner you lock in your premiums, the better it would be. So on that note, do schedule your free phone call with Ditto. They have a team of insurance experts who can help you pick the right term insurance and health insurance plan. So over to the main video. So the point is that sitting in the year 2023, it has become extremely difficult to make money. So on this demotivational video, I am going to tell you very practically, just by using 10 simple points, why it has become really difficult to make money and what is it that you can do in order to figure out some situations and improve your life. If you watch this video till the very end, you will understand a lot of practical insights. Now, why am I saying it? Because for people who are new to my channel, my background is that I had worked with top tier consulting firms. I had started my own businesses. You see me on YouTube. So I've practically done a series of businesses that I'm going to give examples of throughout this video. So let's kickstart. And the first key reason why making money has become really difficult in 2023 is the fact that in order to make money, you require money. So अब आप ये सोच के देखोगे कि okay, why is this? So okay, so let's understand the pathways of making money. So there are 4 pathways of making money. The first is that you figure out a high-end job. So this situation is very limited in India right now, that there are not like too many front-end investment banking, VC, PE type of jobs. Of course, there are exceptions, but number of those jobs are very few to begin with. I'll speak more about this point. Then the second pathway is that you start a small business. आपने पहले देखा होगा that grandfather, father, mother, all these would have started a small shop, kirani ki dukaan, and all small businesses like cafe khol liya, ya created a small scale factory. But now in India, the situation is such that the cost of capital is very high. So even to own a small shop, let's say in a major metro, it requires significant expenditure. And here is the latest study that was done by RBI. It shows that in पिछले 30-40 सालों में, in last 30-40 years, the savings rate are at an all-time low right now in India. The third way of getting rich or making more money is that you start a big business. Now it's almost impossible to start a big business in India. There are literally handful of exceptions. For example, if you speak about some tech founder that they built like a 1,000 crore business or 2,000 crore business, mostly are in tech. They are hardly ever capital intensive driven businesses as of today. The fourth way of getting rich is very simple, that you invest your money properly. For example, you might have seen your parents, your grandparents, कि उन्होंने जाके थोड़े से plot खरीद लिए, land खरीद लिया, and then suddenly the investment gave like massive returns. So they became rich overnight. गुड़गांव, हरियाणा वगैरह में तो people became extremely rich after selling their land and पजेरो खरीद लिए, 15 पजेरो they have. So these are the 4 pathways, and each of these pathways have become really difficult. Of course, you can point to certain examples, exceptions, that okay, generally you know what, so many people are creating their tech companies, this, that, but examples are really handful. So now you would say कि यार आपने bad news दे दी, now कुछ solution भी बता दो. So see, I have like 2 solutions for you, or at least I can point you in the right direction. So if you're a youngster, if you're in your teens, if you're in your early 20s, then please focus on your brand value, the type of college that you get to, the type of grades that you get. Because इससे होगा क्या, what will happen with this is that you will be able to get a handful of elite jobs in India. For example, if you end up working in investment banking, product management with good companies, consulting, all these are good career paths, and getting a job for a middle class person is still a reliable option of making good money. Now, some of you would say, मैं तो दिन भर बैठ के Shark Tank देखता रहता हूँ. People keep on saying that if you start your company, you get rich. By myth hai, right? It's not that easy that you just go pick up funding and you suddenly become rich. No, in majority of the startup cases, it is not that easy to become rich just by running a startup unless you are able to find a profitable exit. जब IPO हो जाता है, that is when you end up making a lot of money as a founder of a particular startup, and to get to an IPO is a nightmare in itself. There are a handful of companies and founders that are able to do it. So this Shark Tank culture needs to be looked at a little bit more intelligently. And that brings me to solution number 2, that if you're thinking of starting your own business that will give you decent amount of returns, can become really good with time, then think of something asset light. For example, if you can build your social media content, you can do blogging. All these are examples of asset light. And unfortunately or fortunately, when you don't have money, you have to think from an asset light model point of view. Now, the second reason why making money is really tough is because we are not taught or conditioned to make money from a young age. Barring a handful of cultures within India where money is discussed openly at the dinner table, or where people or kids are encouraged to think about money, businesses, बहुत कम families में ऐसा होता है, that's one. Second, even if you go to school, schools are geared towards making you academically better. That's it, right? There is no practical money making skills that are taught in schools. As to, for example, how to start a business, it's hardly ever taught. How to think about investing better, so that is not taught. How to think about trends, right? So that is not taught. So kids, they are unable to figure out these trends. उनके दिमाग में क्या हो जाता है कि बस there is like one way of getting rich, which is to get high marks. I'm not saying that this philosophy is incorrect. In fact, I believe in the philosophy that you should study hard, get good grades, get into good colleges, but that's just one pathway. You have to think about other pathways also, which are not taught in schools. Now, on top of that, what happens is that once we graduate from school, college में भी नहीं पढ़ाया जाता, तो college also we don't learn much. Then finally we enter into a workforce, and तब क्या होता है यार, someone should mentor me, right? So that culture of mentorship, apprenticeship, that is not there in India. So we don't have like that concept. For example, in Germany, the concept of apprenticeship, it simply means that you go and work with someone who is working in a industry or in a particular profession. You shadow them, you learn from them, so they become your indirect mentor in a way, and as a result you are able to learn a lot more practical things. And once you learn practical things, that is when you can actually make money. So वो वाला culture नहीं है. Neither is there a culture of talking much about money. Neither formal training in money making courses is given. Neither there is a culture of mentorship / apprenticeship. So that culture is not there. So as a result, what ends up happening is that people remain clueless about making money well into their 30s. And by the time you're 30, 35, you have family responsibilities going with you. So you're not able to take risk, and that becomes a major issue, that if you never take risk, then you have to put up with like a lot of bad work conditions, toxic culture and whatnot. Right? So this is an honest reason that I'm sharing with you. So then comes the natural response that, okay, kar kya sakte hain? Is there something that we can do? Yes, learn on your own. There are so many resources there. For example, YouTube. Follow people who know how to build businesses. What type of businesses? I would really request that you guys follow me, subscribe to my channel. The reason is that, see, I'm not like some very big entrepreneur. The idea is for me to build 0 to 1 type of small businesses. Jaise mera Airbnb hai. I talk about like stock market. I invest my own money in stock markets. So I can teach you about how to cultivate small businesses. Now, if you go and read like Steve Jobs' biography, yes, he's a wonderful entrepreneur, but can you replicate his model? The answer is no. So you have to curate the content that fits to you. So just a very quick FYI, I'm a big fan of Mr. Steve Jobs. Absorb his content of what he says. Of course, definitely do it. But at the same time, please understand that you have to start from the base. So हम तो बहुत छोटे लोग हैं. So so you can first follow us and then eventually graduate to Steve Jobs. Now comes the third reason why making money is difficult. It is difficult because it requires a combination of different skills. Now, what do I mean by combination? Let me give you an example. So for example, you're watching this video on YouTube. Now, in order to make this YouTube video, what I had to do was that I had to decide a topic. I had to structure it. I need to know storytelling. I need to be good at communicating. I need to be good at explaining. So, isi mein, there are wide range of things, right? And on top of that, if I'm editing the video also, then I need to know basics of editing. If it's a horribly edited video, then no one is likely to watch it. So all these things is a combination of different skill sets. Now, the problem that happens with us in terms of making money is that we might be really good at one skill, but uske baad we are dabba gol, we don't know much about anything else, and it becomes a problem. Now, even if you have no intention of starting a business, be it small business, large business, forget about all that. Usme to aapko chahiye hi chahiye, right? A range of skills. But even if you are just sticking to one job, then the chances are, at least in 90-95% of the cases, that as you progress towards a leadership position in your company and you have to manage teams, you have to talk to seniors in your firm, you have to give presentations. So what does that require? It requires a series of different skills. Now this is something that people are really iffy about. एक और example से बताता हूँ that for example people hate sales, right? The moment you utter the word sales, यार साबुन बेचने वाला इंसान है तो. No, that is not the point. If you are a partner at a leading management consulting firm, BCG, Bain, McKinsey, what are you doing? You are doing sales. So sales is done by like top people. But if you speak with college students and if you tell them, right, यार मुझे sales का शौक है, sales का शौक, what kind of शौक is this? This is like so bad, this, that. So the point is that we become judgmental too early when it comes to picking up certain kind of skills which turn out to be really good and golden in a way. So the solution here is that if you are a young person watching this video, then please learn sales. Please develop an interest in learning about different things. So then comes the fourth reason why making money is difficult. Very simply put, that money making is a byproduct of your circumstances as well. Now again, if you take a look at this data chart, what you will notice is, and I'll read it with you, that in 1961, top 1% Indians held approximately 11.9% of nation's wealth. Right now, approximately in 2022, this became 42.5%, right? And if you look at top 10% people, पहले उनका 43.2 था, right, in 1960. Now it has risen to 74%. The point I'm trying to outline is that the income inequality in the world has grown massively. This is not just the condition in India. This is the condition everywhere. So please be aware that the next 2 decades in India are going to be hyper competitive. There is a lot of cornering of wealth that has already happened in India. So therefore, I keep on encouraging all my audiences to learn money making skills, to understand how money is made in different types of asset classes, different type of sectors, how to start new businesses, how to grow a particular business. All these are small things. If you keep on learning it, it will actually change your life. Why? Because the level of competition is increasing by the day. So spend your time growing your wealth. Not only will it help you, it will also help your kids. Why? Because money, like it or not, very practically, honestly speaking, money is a byproduct of your circumstances also. So the next reason why making money has become more difficult is that we are spoiled for choices. Let me give you an example that, for example, if you have to make a decision today, आपके पास 10 लाख रुपए हैं, right? You somehow won a lottery or someone gave it to you or you got it in inheritance and you have to invest that 10 lakh rupees, you will be confused. You would not know where to put. Mutual fund में डालें, what type of mutual fund, hybrid, this, that. There are so many options. Similarly, when it comes to the choice of consuming content or to the choice of taking the type of course that will improve your life, there are just thousands and thousands of choices. So what do? People सिर्फ उंगली चलाने लग गए हैं, right? Instagram, roll, right? So that is it. That people just keep on scrolling. They get like so overwhelmed with so much choices in terms of content, type of course to take, what job to apply, what course to study, where to invest. There is just too much information flowing around, and all it simply does is that it confuses you. It makes your journey of making more money even more difficult. So what is the solution here? Well, the solution is very simple, and this is something that I learned from one of my teachers also, that when I was in class 11th, I used to study from a lot of books, right? क्योंकि इतनी सारी books market में थी, that I started to go and purchase like every single book कि मैं ऐसे भी पढ़ लूँगा, ऐसे भी पढ़ लूँगा, ऐसे भी पढ़ लूँगा. My teacher told me that just read NCRT well and take like one additional book, complete it and read it like 3-4 times, you will get good marks. And exactly वही हुआ, right? That I studied from like just 2 books for every subject, mostly focused on NCRT. Now something similar is happening in the digital space, that there are so many courses. I see people selling like 500 rupee courses, and if I talk to students, they would have taken like 30, 40, 50 such courses. Just because you are getting some course for cheap does not mean that it is a good course. You should take courses or whichever initiative you wish to spend your time on, considering the fact that you are going to spend certain number of hours of your life into that. So don't make your time cheap, right? So that's the most important part. The most critical asset of yours that you will give to others is the time. So I'm very thankful that you're watching my video. So don't simply judge products by their price. Judge products by the type of impact they might have in your life. So point number 6, why it has become more difficult to make money is that the access to credit or access to useful credit has been blocked for a lot of people. Now you'll say, yaar, aap to faltu ke aaroop laga rahe ho. Okay, so let me state a line that it is much easier to buy an iPhone on loan today rather than taking educational loan. Now many of you would reply, yaar, of course, education loan quantum is high, mortgage back hote hain, this, that. Think about it, right? On one hand, you are trying to access loans for your education, for upskilling yourself, upskilling a human resource that can contribute to the nation. इनको नहीं मिलता लोन आसाम से. बट द सेकंड कैटेगरी ऑफ पीपल, भाई हम तो आईफोन खरीद के एप्पल वालों का भला करेंगे. Yes, take loan, right? Take like BNPL, PNPL, CNPL, and how many PL, right? So the bottom line is that the access to credit for good purposes has been blocked to a lot of people, and nonsense loans where you're just consuming and consuming and consuming, kuch saving nahi, kuch nahi. You are just simply burning your money there, and all the systems and institutions are pushing this down your throat. Now you will say कि अच्छा इससे impact क्या होता है? See guys, there are a lot of businesses that you can create if you get access to good debt. Yeah, at the back end you are able to calculate that COC, cost of credit computation. Let me give you an example through my own Airbnb. So I bought an Airbnb, the flat that you just saw, for somewhere around like 65 lakhs. And the amount of Airbnb rentals that Preksha is making is close to 50,000. So I completely outsourced it to her just to run as an experiment. Now to buy such a flat, what is the limiting factor? Well, the limiting factor could be capital, that you require like 40-50 lakhs of capital in form of loans. क्योंकि हो सकता है आपके पास 10-15 लाख रुपए पड़े हों. So you might need another 50 lakhs as a loan. Now typically what happens is that you're getting the home loan at 8-9% and the property that you're renting out is generating a rental yield of 2-3%. So इस तरीके की math बैठ गई है in majority of the property. But yes, as I have been telling you that if you become better at option A, you are able to procure credit at lower rate of interest, then your life improves, or you are able to scout deals where your return on investment goes up so that the rental yield goes up. In both these situations you are fine. तो आपको इनमें से एक में बैलेंस तो बैठाना पड़ेगा. Now the seventh reason why making money is becoming really difficult is that there are hardly any high paying jobs in India. Now this is a point that I touched upon earlier in the video, but think about it strategically and I'll tell you 2-3 points. Like it or not, we are still the back engine for the Western world when it comes to job. जो भी वहाँ पे लेबर टफ होती है, राइट, लेबर इज एक्सपेंसिव, सो दे आउटसोर्स इट टू इंडिया. वी डू इट एट अ चीपर कॉस्ट and therefore we are not able to command the same price. So this is problem 1. Problem 2 happened in the startup sector, that when the startup boom was happening 2020, 2021, salaries बहुत ज़्यादा मिली. In what form did you get the salary? It was in ESOPs. कि भाई आपको एक they created like a very weird looking package. आपकी CTC इतनी होगी, आपके ESOPs इतना होगा, base पे इतना होगा, वगैरह वगैरह करके. And suddenly everyone started believing that if you are working with a startup, every month you will be making like 10 lakh rupees. So that is not true at all. All this very beautiful packaging is done when it comes to packages, but if you actually uncover the reality, the story is not that bright. And on top of that, if you look at the recent situation in startups, then of course a lot of people are struggling. The salaries have been crushed, and it looks like that the salaries are going to be muted for the next several years. In fact, the entire VC model seems to have changed. So this is the situation of typically high-paying industry, high-paying jobs, startup jobs. Then comes manufacturing type of jobs. अभी सबसे ज़्यादा खुशी किस चीज़ की हुई थी, right? The most happiness came when iPhone assembly line was instituted in India. भाई क्या product designing आ गई इंडिया में. Now how does it make India the high-end manufacturing hub? So unfortunately, this is a macro point. This is beyond our control. What we can typically do from a solution-oriented viewpoint is, let's see, if you can study well, if you can score well on your GMAT, GRE, this, that, go abroad, work for a few years, aggregate wealth, do it. There is nothing wrong that you're doing there, right? Of course, India is a growth story. You should be here, come to India, start your business, all that stuff should be done. But at least at the start of your career, look for money-making opportunities. There is nothing wrong there. Then comes the 8th point, why money-making is tough. Because money-making right now requires a construction of portfolio of income streams and a reasonable risk appetite. Now, what is the meaning of reasonable risk appetite? Well, it's very simple, that if you never take risk to learn about stock investing, then you are missing out on one key pathway, which is called as investment related wealth. So you'll not be able to generate it. Similarly, risk होती है career में, right? That for example, if you are established in your corporate career, you have built enough wealth, है आपके पास cushion, and you can possibly quit, run a small experiment in terms of your career, many people will be scared to do it. Now, why is that the case? Because generally, risk taking has not been encouraged in the Indian society for a fairly long time, right? Now the situation has started to change, so probably we will start seeing more results. So the solution here is very simple, that see, if you are in college, then try to take risks in college. There is nothing wrong, right? What's the worst case? That for example, if you try to start your own YouTube channel, or if you start your own blog, what is the worst that could happen? That you'll have to shut it down, right? I mean, once you graduate, you go do the job, not a problem, right? So that is a sensible way of taking risk. If you are well into your career, then how should you take risk? Well, that becomes important. You have to mitigate risk. So as I said earlier, that please buy insurance, very, very important. It helps you set a baseline for your family. So point number 9, why making money is difficult is The rise and rise of crab mentality. Now, crab mentality का मतलब क्या होता है? Well, in very easy to understand terms, that if you take a few live crabs, throw them in a bucket, and सबको पता है कि निकल जाएंगे, right? If they just work together, they will be able to come out of that bucket. But none of the crabs will be able to come out. Why? Because they pull each other's leg. Now, something happens on social media all the time now. There is so much hate, so much anger. Go on Twitter, everyone is just like ranting, and all the negative things. आपको लगेगा कि भाई यही है. Now, if you are a youngster who has just started on social media, आपके पास आएंगे, there will be like 15 people who will write like nonsense comments. It will spoil your mood. You will not be able to focus. A bunch of negative things will happen. If you are looking to start your own business in college, your classmates might say कि यार क्या बेकार कामों में लगा है, placement के लिए पढ़ ले, this that. So when you are starting your journey, and if you don't have supportive people around you, and further when you start your social media journey or something of that sort, lot of negative amplification might come on you, and if it is the first time you are doing it, you will get really demotivated. So this rise of crab mentality is just gaining new heights everywhere, not only just in India, everywhere. Please train your mind to ignore this negativity. Now, it's very easy for me to say that ignore this negativity, but it's not that easy. It really hits you. You are a human after all. So it will hit you, but you have to fight back. So that's the only thing and only solution I can give you. So now comes the last and final point about making money. Let's see, making money is really, really tough. And in order to consistently make money at a decent scale, you have to learn the concept of pivoting. Pivoting means that you are able to change. You are able to absorb whatever you are doing, apply it to the next field that you're going to, or the next venture, next initiative that you're learning. So that process is called as pivoting. Now, pivoting indirectly, or if you look at it from another viewpoint, it means that you are accepting, yeah, whatever I was doing previously, and now I'm pivoting it. It means that I was wrong about whatever I was doing previously. And people are going to come and say, yaar, pehle to aap ye bolte the, ab aap ye bol rahe ho, so you are a dogla insaan, you are this, you are that. So pivoting in a way is not very easy for anyone to do. Let me give you a concrete example. So many a times you would have heard the argument that, yaar, you have done IIT. Now, why do you want to go and do an MBA? आपकी IIT की degree बर्बाद नहीं हो जाएगी? नहीं. So that is pivoting. If you go and do IIT plus IIM or any good college, then the chances are that you will do well. But yes, are you pivoting? The short answer is yes. You are pivoting from engineering to management. Now, same type of situation can play out if you are starting your business. A successful business pivots multiple times. Pivoting requires more than anything else accountability on yourself. If you're wrong about something, just say, yaar, I was incorrect. कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. I will do better from the next time. And be responsible for your own actions. If you blame everyone else and not you and take no responsibility on you, then there is absolutely zero chances that you will ever do well money. So the overall summary, I will just highlight in 5-6 points. That number one, get a good job. It's still a very good step, very good measure to getting to a high money situation. Second, mitigate your risk. It is absolutely critical that you learn how to mitigate your risk. Number three, learn about different forms of money making. It is again absolutely critical. The more you learn, the more you can potentially earn. Point number four, that with more experience will come more insights. You're not paid to invest money in the stock market. You would not make any money just by starting a business. You'll make money if you have invested well or if you have run a business really well. That will only come if you have generated good insights, and for that you need experience, which brings us to the final point that in order to generate good experience, you need to continue to pivot and take risks. I hope you enjoyed the video. As a next step, if you're looking to invest in the stock market, do consider checking out this video. I have helped you start a process at least. It would allow you to buy your first stock. So definitely go and check out this video.